as you can. However, it is not that common, and when it is common, it's generally among expats, so people who are, living and either working or studying or traveling in a different country that's not where they were born. Or as we're going to see in the next story, it can happen in like a freak accident. Hi, Mira, welcome. So this is the article we read. If you guys want to go check it out, it's by Monica Schmid, called Losing Your First Language. Here's how to rediscover your voice on The Guardian. I am going to go get another tissue. I will be right back. Give me 1 minute, you guys. Okay, guys, I am back. Good morning, Dimple. Welcome. Macon says, I think we can lose our native language if you don't practice. With time, you forget the words and the pronunciation of things, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. That's the main rule to live by. If you don't use it, you lose it. And that goes for languages, that goes for things like math if you don't practice enough. Really, it can go for a lot of things. Hello, guys, welcome. So this is the article we just finished reading. We're going to go on to the second one now. So if you guys have any questions, send those in the chat. If you want to have a discussion about it, send those in the chat as well. If you don't use it, you lose it. Good. Yeah, that definitely happens a lot. If you don't practice something and you don't stay consistent, which is why I say to people, if you want to improve your English or really any language for that matter, practice and stay consistent. Those are the two things, 1, 2, that if you do enough, your brain will get used to the language. When your brain gets used to the language, you'll be able to remember more, and you can learn faster. Hi, Vijay, welcome. Welcome. So the first article we read was more of a basic, introduction to language attrition. So it's when you lose your first or your native language to, varying degrees. So for some people, like, they might not be able to write a sentence well, or for some people, they completely forget everything. And it really depends. But the next article we're going to read is one woman's specific story about this, which is very interesting. I found this a couple years ago, and I actually wrote an assignment on it. So this is not my first time reading this article. I still find it very interesting, and I'm going to screen share it right now, and we can read it. Okay? Well, how did I bookmark this? Okay, it's under languages. Cool. Okay. So, Amira says, the kids in my neighborhood are no longer speaking their mother tongue. Unfortunately, in my country, Western influence is quite strong. Yeah, I've heard of things like that happening, Amira, where, the mother tongue might be like a smaller language, or it could be a language that isn't necessarily smaller or endangered, but in the country, where the language is being used, English is kind of becoming more influential, and so the kids will want to learn English because, that's what they want to practice more, and that's what they're learning. And then their parents are like, well, we want you to speak this too, and sometimes the kids might say, no, I don't want to. So that makes sense. I've heard about that, yeah. Yeah, because if the influence of one language gets too strong, it can kind of push the others out of view, or it can crowd out the others, which I actually did a stream on a few days ago. It was from, I don't remember what day of the week it was, but if you go through my account, you will find it. It's about Gaelic. So Scottish Gaelic is a language spoken in Scotland. English is really kind of, pushing it out of use, and so people who are bilingual in both are trying to preserve it. And then there's another one about language preservation that we read. So if you guys want to go check those out, you can head on over to my profile page. And without further ado, we're going to get rocking and rolling here. If you guys want to read this article, it's on BBC Culture. That's the tab it's in. So it's written by Beth Rose. And this article came out in October 2018, so it's a little over 2 years old. If you guys want to read it, though, it's still a good read. B. Jean says, our native language is like flesh. You mean flesh with blood? Or fresh? If someone forgets their own language, he or she disrespects their language rather than others' language. I don't think it's a disrespect to your own language. I think that sometimes if you don't use it enough for whatever reason, you forget. If you don't use it, you lose it. I don't think it's necessarily a sign of disrespect because I don't think a lot of people mean to. I just think most people who are in this situation are expats. So they're traveling, they're working, they're studying for school. It could be something else. So if they're living in a country where their native language isn't used a lot, and then they try to come back and they haven't been exposed to it enough because they've been exposed to the other country's language a lot, I mean, that's understandable, right? So I get your point though, Jean. If you want to have more of a discussion about it, I'd really like to do that. If you want to hop on, you can send a request. I don't think it's a matter of disrespect to your own language. I think sometimes your brain will just process information differently, and if you don't keep it fresh enough, it's just going to naturally forget. Hi, Yasmin. Hi. I learn English with you. Help me. Okay, I'll try to help you. Do you want to, what kinds of things do you want help with? If you want more one-on-one individual attention. If you want more one-on-one attention, Yasmin, you can book a private lesson with me on my profile, and we can figure out something out. We can figure out something to help you. That's what we can do. Or if you want to hop on and practice speaking, you can do that as well. Yeah, you're welcome. Mostly people don't give priority to their own language. I would say that some people don't, but again, I don't think that that's necessarily something that they should be faulted for. Because, and this is the reason why I say that, you guys, like Amira shared the story of the kids in her neighborhood are no longer able to speak the mother tongue because in her country, Western influence is quite strong. So it's not that the kids in her neighborhood are disrespecting their native language, and it's not that they're not giving it a priority, because really when you're a kid, you don't have a whole lot of choice. If your parents speak it or don't speak it, that's gonna affect how you learn. If you're learning it or not learning it in school, that's going to affect how you learn, right? So I don't think that's something that people should necessarily be faulted for, especially because sometimes depending on, the environment, like the political or the socioeconomical, workings of a region, that affects the language you use too. So I think sometimes people don't really get a choice over it, because if you think of it this way, a lot of people are trying to learn English. English has the most learners of the language in the world, right? And fun fact, English is the only language in the world that has more non-native than native speakers. But that aside, Laxmi Khan says, in India we see a lot of people trying to copy the American accent as if this will make them look intelligent, but reality it makes them look more dumb. Pronunciation is difficult to nibble on me. What do you mean to nibble on me? Is that an idiom I don't know? I don't think it makes people look dumb if they get your accent wrong. I think it shows that they're trying. I mean, I'm sure some people have thought I sound dumb when I try to speak Mandarin to them, and you can tell that I'm not a native speaker, but you can tell that I'm really trying. And, you know, that's funny to me because, you know, obviously it's not nice to call people dumb to their face. Don't call someone dumb to their face. Be a kind human being. But I get what you're saying, Laxmika. If you don't get something right away, it might make them look like they're trying too hard to do something, and it's like, why are you even doing it in the first place? But if somebody's trying, and the reason why they're trying is because that's, you know, where their priorities are, and English is very influential, so of course they're going to want to learn English, and then depending on what they want to do with it, they're either really going to pick the American or the British accent.